please welcome Okomfo Kwadee.
This man once held all of Ghana in the palm of his hand. Crowds that knew every word, hit songs that played for years after release. A storytelling gift so rare that even Ghana's greatest rappers openly admit he inspired them. And then, one of Ghana's most gifted artists disappeared from the music that made him. Not by choice, not by retirement, by a series of events that the industry watched happen and didn't stop in time. So, what really happened? How did the man Ghana called its greatest storyteller end up forgotten, abandoned, and stranded, while his songs were still playing on the radio? We're going to answer that fully, with facts, with quotes, and with the story the industry has never told in one place. Stay with us. By the time you reach the end of this documentary, you'll understand that Okomfo Kwadee's story isn't just about one man's fall, it's about what Ghana does and doesn't do for its legends while they're still alive. And the twist at the end of this story is something most people following this story haven't heard yet. Why did Ghana fall in love with Kwadee? By the early 2000s, Hiplife had names. Reggie Rockstone had created it. Obrafour had given it weight. Kwao Kese had given it streets. But nobody had given it what Okomfo Kwadee arrived with. Kwadee's debut album caused what one music writer called mass hysteria in the Ghanaian music industry. It was unlike anything Hiplife had produced. The debut album, simply titled Kwadee, was an 8-track masterpiece, but it wasn't just the music, it was the method. Every other rapper was building on what hip-hop had imported from America. Kwadee went the opposite direction. He went back to Anansesem, the Ghanaian tradition of storytelling through folklore and parable, back to Akan proverbs, back to the kind of wisdom you'd hear from an elder at a family gathering, now delivered over a Hiplife beat. Abrantie, the story of a young man left to fend for himself at a tender age, self-made, carrying the weight of becoming someone without a safety net. Ataa Adwoa, a song that explains with perfect Ghanaian irony why a man treats his girlfriend better than his wife. The crowd didn't just enjoy it, they quoted it. Critics and music writers described Okomfo Kwadee as an artist who went back to the grassroots, narrating stories in the style of Anansesem while rhyming, a style that captivated both young and old audiences. His second album, Meko M'anim, received nominations at Ghana Music Awards from left, right, and center, but he didn't win. Ghana was watching a legend, and the awards didn't reflect it. Young people loved him because he was funny, sharp, real. Older Ghanaians loved him because he spoke their language, literally and philosophically. Children could follow the stories. Grandmothers recognized the proverbs. One music writer said it simply, "No one comes near his style. He is one of the most versatile Hiplife artists in the music. He is unrivaled in the Ghanaian music industry when it comes to storytelling." 2007, Kawonatusu wins the Ghana Music Award for Best Original Song, Songwriter of the Year. Finally, an award that matched the talent. At the peak of his career, nobody imagined what was coming next. When did everything begin to change? The answers aren't simple. They never are when a legend falls. And in Kwadee's case, the fall didn't happen in one moment. It happened in layers, each one revealing something new about what Ghana was missing in how it treated its artists. Despite multiple Ghana Music Award nominations across his career, Kwadee won just 2 awards in total. He later said directly, "It's unfair. I won few music awards in my time."
Me boy you kroma obi an award me da no kwa insuma me ene abi
unya award da
me award me da chata aso ma award me da chata wale mu na ajijo mu di chata wale nya award awa ya mani tun ayi popular chata me o ma award da kroma award be na o me da ba me.
Think about that, one of the most imitated storytellers in Ghanaian music history, a man who, by his own peers' admission, was unrivaled, and the industry that benefited from his innovation gave him barely anything back in formal recognition. "It's unfair. I won few music awards in my time. The board did not recognize my effort due to my mental health issues." He said that himself, not someone speaking for him. Kwadee, looking back, connecting the dots between the industry's neglect of his awards and the struggles that were already beginning to surface. Reports emerged in the early 2000s of Okomfo Kwadee struggling publicly. Ghana Music Award nominee, Hiplife pioneer, spotted in a distressing state. What was happening to him? The verified facts are these. Kwadee was battling personal struggles that became impossible to hide. His output slowed. His public appearances changed. The man who had held crowds spellbound was now someone people were concerned about, not just excited for. And here's what makes this painful beyond the personal. The industry he had helped build was watching it happen. Artists who had been inspired by him, producers who had benefited from the lanes he opened, institutions like Gemro and Musiga that existed partly because people like Kwadee made Ghanaian music matter internationally. The founder of the Willing Way Foundation stated publicly his family members, fellow musicians, Gemro and Musiga have abandoned him. They've not even paid him a visit. Not a rumor, the founder of the facility caring for him on record. In 2012, Kwadee attempted a comeback. He released a single titled Meni A, showing that the creative fire hadn't gone out, that somewhere underneath the struggle, the storyteller was still there. Meni A comeback attempt, a man fighting to reclaim his place, but the industry barely noticed. If he was still capable of making music, why didn't Ghana show up for him the way he had shown up for Ghana? February 2025, a viral video circulates showing Okomfo Kwadee in a distressing state singing his old songs in what appears to be a public space. Ghana reacts with shock and grief. As the heartbreaking video spread across social media, disbelief quickly turned into concern. Fans weren't the only ones reacting. Some of Ghana's biggest names in entertainment began speaking out, unable to watch one of Hiplife's greatest storytellers suffer in silence. Radio personality Dr. Pounds described the situation as heartbreaking, praying that God would intervene and help Kwadee through his struggles. Soon, more voices joined the call. Captain Planet, Lord Kenya, Abraham Ohenejan, and several artists and producers publicly appealed for support, united by one painful message: Okomfo Kwadee deserved better. Then came one of the most emotional reactions of all. Rapper Pope Skinny publicly pleaded for anyone with Kwadee's direct contact to reach out to him. He said he didn't want recognition or assistance from anyone else. He simply wanted the opportunity to help the man he regarded as his godfather. For a moment, it felt as though the entire music industry had come together with one goal: to save a legend before it was too late. But even that outpouring of love couldn't stop what was about to happen next. What really happened to Okomfo Kwadee? In this section, we're separating what is verified from what is speculation, because Kwadee deserves the truth, not just the headlines. On July 22nd, 2013, Okomfo Kwadee was brought to the Willing Way Foundation, Ghana Recovery Center in Ejisu Asawasi by his mother. He has been in and out of that facility ever since. The Willing Way Foundation confirmed this. It is not a rumor. It is the documented starting point of a chapter that Ghana has watched unfold slowly, painfully, and publicly. In 2025, the Willing Way Foundation confirmed that Okomfo Kwadee had completed his rehabilitation and was medically cleared to leave, but was unable to go home because of 7,000 Ghanaian cedis in unpaid medical bills. He wasn't still there because he needed to be. He was there because nobody had paid to let him leave. And then came the detail that shocked Ghana in March 2025. March 2025. A national fundraising campaign is launched on UTV with media personality Ohima to raise money for Okomfo Kwadee's medical bills. Ghanaians donate generously.
Money involved and all that. I can raise the foundation not to start it. Then I'm looking at the whole industry in Ghana. I know the Kwadee was before the that can support so that because the cost of the
alleged, not yet confirmed in court. Investigations by Pure FM Online claimed none of the funds raised were used for Kwadee's treatment. His mother is alleged to have diverted the donations for personal use. We say alleged because at the time of this script, these are investigative reports, not court-verified findings. But the reporting is detailed and from multiple sources, and it has not been publicly contested. I have done my part. I am ready. All I ask is for the opportunity to go home and work. Okomfo Kwadee, speaking from the Willing Way Foundation, 2025. A legend, cleared for release sitting in a rehabilitation facility, saying, "I am ready, let me go home and work," and nobody paying the bill.
To do it. Into Uber friend said, "Yeah, bro, but found banana off." That's it. I'm not a kid, man.
I don't think and then I can.
No. I mean, test it. I don't understand. Call her, come pick me up. That's all. I'm a fan of be official. That's all. One hour banana.
How did Ghana allow this to happen to the man who gave it some of its most enduring music? Alleged. Reports claimed that Kwadee's mother privately suggested he should remain in rehabilitation indefinitely and proposed moving him to a different facility in Kwadaso, described as having poor conditions. Kwadee rejected this firmly. He wanted to go home. He wanted to make music. That desire, that refusal to give up, is documented. The truth about Okomfo Kwadee's story is not just about personal struggle. It is about a system, a music industry, a family structure, a public support apparatus that repeatedly failed one of its greatest artists at the moments he needed it most. Why is Okomfo Kwadee still remembered today when some of his contemporaries have been forgotten? Because the stories don't age. Ofie Nipa, the song about a man who fails at everything and turns to drink, is still quoted in conversations about hustle and hardship in Ghana, not as an old record, as a current truth. Abrantie still plays at Ghanaian parties. Ataa Adwoa is still referenced in conversations about relationships. These songs are not nostalgia, they are furniture, permanent parts of how Ghanaians talk to each other. And now, the detail that changes the ending of this story. December 28, 2025, Okomfo Kwadee performs live at the 1999 Lounge, Kumasi City Mall, his first major public performance in years. The crowd erupts. After everything, the years in rehabilitation, the abandoned donations, the viral videos that made Ghana grieve, Okomfo Kwadee walked onto a stage and Ghana showed up. Okomfo Kwadee didn't just write songs, he told stories that millions of Ghanaians still remember today. His journey is a reminder that talent alone isn't always enough and that behind every legend is a human being. A human being who, in December 2025, proved that the story wasn't finished. We asked at the start, how did Ghana's most gifted storyteller lose everything? The answer is, he didn't just lose it, it was taken by neglect, by failed systems, by people who used his name while doing nothing for the man behind it. And we asked, could it have been prevented? The answer to that one is harder, but we know this, it hasn't ended the way the industry let it get. Because in December 2025, Okomfo Kwadee walked onto a stage again, and Ghana remembered every word. What's your favorite Okomfo Kwadee song, and what do you think was the moment that changed his life? Drop it in the comments. We read every single one. If this documentary gave you something, subscribe to Fame Africa. We tell the full story of Africa's greatest music legends.